Hey everyone, I'm Rob, Rob Irving, and welcome to Design Underground Episode 7.
Wow. Wow, that's cool.
Guest today, Eric Wingman Peterson.
What's up?
The man, the myth, the legend. We have a very special episode today because we're going to go over the entries and the winners for our Kickstarter design contest.
Ooh.
Pretty exciting stuff. You're hearing it here first. So, what was this contest that we're talking about today? Jaxley, one of our very, very active users, and thank you very much, Jaxley, by the way, decided to put up a post asking people to design elements of our game while the Kickstarter was going on, keeping the people busy on the forums while we were waiting to see what happened.
And we did our Kickstarter was very early. I mean, the reason we're doing this is to get that kind of feedback. So
Absolutely.
It really fit in well.
And what you were tasked with doing is designing an element for multiplayer game, a multiplayer game mode, or an element for single player mode, or both. You could enter in both categories. And we had a lot of people who did.
Cool.
And the end result was that we were going to judge these and add these elements into our game over the course of time.
Thou shalt not judge.
Thou shalt not judge. We will.
We're sorry about this.
Totally judge.
But thou are going to judge.
So some of the entries, by the way, were moved from one category to another. If you submitted a cooperative play mode, it went to the single player category because A, there were fewer single player entries, and B, that's really more of a single player element. You could do the same thing with a solo player. So it fit better that way. It did not affect our results greatly. But
Okay.
The prizes for the winners, first place gets, well, everyone gets contributor medals. First place all the way down to honorable mention. So there are 3 prizes in each category. First place gets a digital flight patch that they will work with Jaxley to build. That can be used on your forum signature. What's that thing I'm talking about right now?
The signature.
Forum signature. First and second place will get a tail emblem in the game. Pretty cool. As I said, everyone gets contributor medal, and you will get to work with us as we work on the design and implementation of these things to help us flesh them out.
Cool.
Pretty cool stuff.
I like it.
Big, and of course your name in the credits says, hey, being part of our design team.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Pretty cool.
That is pretty neat. Okay,
so thank all of you who submitted. I think we ended up having 35 submissions at the end of the day.
Good.
Everyone did a good job of keeping on topic. The submissions were well presented. It was very, very difficult to read and judge these.
Yeah.
The judges were the Wingman, the Designopotamus, Keith Dunkelzaw McCormick, and our special guest judge, Angry Peas.
Happy Peas was busy, so all we were able to get was Angry Peas.
And Peas did maybe try to bias things a little bit by suggesting that he really wanted some drill-oriented levels in the game.
That was funny.
However, I don't think everyone fell for that.
Yeah, Drillsy didn't make it in.
Yeah, Drillsy. I noticed that he did vote for the Drillsy level.
Yeah, what a shock.
So, how did we judge the entries? This was a very long process. Eric can attest to that.
Yeah, and there's no air conditioning in here today.
The AC is broken.
It was a tough day to judge these things.
Yeah, in this office.
We're glowing right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as...
I am not glowing.
I'm fat people sweating right now.
So we spent a very extensive amount of time reading and judging these things.
Haggling.
There was some haggling involved. Entries were judged on the basis of, first, the concept itself. How innovative was it? How Descent-y was it? Did it fit with what we're doing with the game?
Sure.
Was it a good idea? Was it interesting? That's the one. That was the biggest
that was the most weighted object. Right.
Okay, next one was presentation. That was weighted pretty lightly, but still. Did you do a good job of explaining your idea?
Right.
Next was the use of our role-based gameplay, and this was a really big one to us. I know that this was done early on in the Kickstarter, so maybe not everyone was fully aware of all the things we were doing.
All the roles were not defined.
But if it fits our roles, then that was a big, big boost to your votes.
Right. Accessibility?
Accessibility.
So I can read these out while you're just...
Oh, yeah, you can. So accessibility is a measure of whether people would understand it quickly, would be able to get in and play it, and whether they would actually, would feel like it was part of the game.
Right. And then there was balance, multiplayer.
Balance, yeah. That one's multiplayer only. And balance, that was just did it feel like it was fair to everyone participating.
Then, of course, there was map reusability.
Now, these last two are important because they affect how much this impacts the schedule and where it could be done.
Sure.
I mean, and
how much the people at the end, everybody out here as well as us, want to play that map. And you don't want to play a map that gets completely boring over and over.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, if your multiplayer mode required a completely specialized map that we couldn't use for other modes,
right? That's a fair point.
That was a lower vote getter because it meant that we were putting a lot of resources into a one-use thing.
Right, it's a single case use.
So if you were presenting something that could be played in a lot of different maps that could then be reused for other purposes, you got more points in that category.
Then there's feasibility.
Feasibility that's the schedule impact particularly, because the more special development that had to be done, and some of these things can be tweaked, of course, as we discuss designs.
And by the way, that doesn't mean we might not use them later in the future.
And that's what it meant, is that the more special elements that it required, the later it was going to be before we could put it in.
100%. We've got to get the core game done first.
So being able to get them in sooner felt to us like it was kind of a better thing for voting.
Yes.
So that got some points in the voting too.
Points.
So there you go. That's how we judged all these.
Should we announce the winners?
I guess we should go with a table roll. That's probably not going to sound good on camera. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, we'll start.
It's hot in here.
We will start. It is very hot in here. We'll start with the single-player winners. Runner-up.
Honorable mention goes to... You want me to try to do the names?
Yes, because you do such a good job of names.
Yoshimitsu. I got that one right.
You did.
Yoshimitsu.
So, Yoshimitsu introduced us some...
he was a drop-in bot control where you could take over the bots.
Very interesting mechanic.
Yeah, you play. Yeah, I liked it a lot actually.
It's a great mechanic in a lot of games, and it provides people that quick bite-sized gameplay. You can just drop it and play for a little while. I was somebody who's allowed that.
Right.
It was a new mechanic, so again, that one didn't score as high.
It changes the single-player experience every time. If you're playing, humans fly differently than AI.
Exactly. So that one would be one that we will add in a later stage. But
honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Okay.
So it could still happen.
And then the first runner-up goes to
second place.
Second place.
First runner-up.
This is a talent show. Come on. First runner-up goes to Skeleton Bane with the enemy bot designs.
Skeleton Bane basically read my mind before he had said anything about bots. It's very interesting. He's like, well, it would be really cool if you had a carrier and these mining guys that could come through the walls at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey,
we're kind of doing that.
I think at this point, because he came up with this before there had been any real discussion of it, like that is very clever.
Yeah, very clever.
And it does very much fit with our game mechanic and what we want to do. So, and it also providing enemies is always a good thing. So Skeleton Bane, good job for getting there before we did.
Congratulations! Absolutely.
And congratulations. And our winner
and
in
the winner
category.
And should the winner not be able to fulfill his obligations or her obligations for the year, the first runner-up will have to immediately take over. So if you go out and shiv the guy, maybe
so for like public speaking appearances and things
right,
like that?
Absolutely. All the Descent Underground public speaking events.
Charity balls. And
things of that nature. The first place goes to Shogun for Corporate Raider.
Now Shogun did a very, very involved design.
Yeah, the level's cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now, this one scored a little lower on the feasibility scale because there's a lot of new stuff.
It's a lot of stuff, unique case stuff for just this.
Now, we could certainly work to tailor that more to assets we're going to have.
Right.
But that one's going to be a long term. We will build a level like that. But that's going to be a very long term.
It'll be phase one.
Yeah, that is not phase one.
But it's still hot. Right. It was still dang hot.
It was a really impressive design.
Yeah, it was very good. And
very thorough.
Very thorough. We do have some ideas to be in the space station or stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to happen. And again, that was amazing. So first place, this is all single player, goes to Shogun. He's got the first congratulations. So congratulations, Shogun, Skeleton Bane, and Yoshimitsu. You are 3 winners in the single player category. Now, of course, there is another category.
Multiplayer, and boy, the competition was pretty fierce.
Fierce. So,
runner-up, honorable mention
goes to, this is fun. This was actually really funny.
This was one of my favorites.
Yeah, Xiphon for Horde mode. And why?
Because Horde mode is basically exactly the way to play our game.
Yeah.
It's like, Basically, a lot of the stuff
most of the core game is exactly what Zyphon said. So we like that.
That's
obviously.
Impressive. That's very impressive.
But it's not something that's
He's
unique.
Paying attention.
It's not something we're unique. We probably just linked up and somehow had the same ideas.
He sucked our brains out.
So Zyphon gets honorable mention in multiplayer.
Second place.
First runner-up. Second place goes to Strife.
Good. Yeah, how would you mess up that word?
Well, the E was silent. Seek and destroy. Building team and destroying team.
Yeah. Okay.
Strife did a good job there.
Seek and destroy is a very interesting mechanic. Very much uses our roles.
Yeah,
it's the idea that one team is trying to construct something.
Right.
One team is trying to destroy that something. It's very balanced. It was well thought out. You did a good job on that. That is absolutely a game mode that we'd like to add in.
That was cool.
So
the winner is a winner of the multiplayer category. And this we can't keep giving this guy awards, man. He just won a video card.
It's not my fault. He did a good job.
I'm just gonna mispronounce his name.
Gridhand.
Groundhound for shutdown. Stop the exploding robot controller.
It was a good design.
It was a really good design.
A darn good design. It is. There will obviously have to be some tweaking. There's again on the feasibility scale. The ones that won seem to be the ones that are the hardest to do.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, it does give you inspirational ideas for this game is going to be a years long development. So
it's a cool, somewhat multi-role game mode. We will figure out ways to incorporate more of the roles, I'm sure. But again, very well thought out, very well presented.
You know what else we should give these guys if they're not there? We should give them, since they're all the winners, we should give them a statue in the Hall of Honor in the game. What do you think?
Alrighty.
Yeah, so you're going to win a statue too. We'll get some way of getting a digital image.
Right here and right now.
Yeah, I just think it's cool because these guys have contributed to the game. We're going to have a Hall of Honor level where you can actually fly by the people that have either earned their way in. And I think this is exactly the kind of thing that needs to earn your way in.
Thousands of tiny artists out there just cried out, and suddenly we're silent. Oh no!
Thousands of tiny artists. We got a bigger team than I thought.
Thousands of artists.
Cool. Well, that's it. That's cool. So we got Yoshimitsu, Skeleton Bane, Shogun, Zyphon, Strife, and Groundhound. Congratulations.
Congratulations, all of you, and thank you, everyone, for participating. There were some great winners. Like I said, it was very difficult, especially in the multiplayer category, to pick our winners. A lot of people put a lot of effort into it, and there were some really novel things in there.
There'll be more contests coming too. We've got, I think, Dunkelzaw's got some cool stuff coming up. We just talked about this afternoon. We'll talk. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We always want to get the community engaged. That's why we did the Kickstarter so early. Normally, you can sequester yourself for a few months and develop a super hot, gameplay.
Super hot, like our offices.
Our office is very hot. But I mean, we, as you guys know, you saw the first month of development as it went, and now you're seeing it, with the design meetings and stuff like that. So
absolutely,
you're in on the ground floor. You're on the Groundhound floor.
There will be participation everywhere.
There will be.
Our community is very active, and we love that. Cool. So thanks again. Thanks for tuning in to Design Underground. I'm Rob Irving.
I'm Eric Peterson.
And we will see you
underground.